Okay, here we are, the Hot Seat Radio Show. Donovan Sadiq, Mr. Moreno Valley, Daryl Terrell, and we are going to talk about some of the latest issues affecting the warehouse empire, formerly the Inland Empire. We are now known as the warehouse empire. We are going to give it to you. We're going to give it to you raw and without no Vaseline. So stand by, get ready. Daryl, we haven't seen you in a bit. You are going to be giving us your inspirational message for the week.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Because a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people miss it. I mean, people need hope out here. It's just like you said. So
that's what I'm planning to do.
Okay. So today, President Trump declared an opium epidemic, not an emergency, and his answer to it is just don't do it. Is that what he had said? Just don't do it, or it
sounds like the
Nancy Reagan. No. Yeah, just don't say no, or just don't start. I think that's what it was. Don't start. Just don't start. Wow, that's ingenious. Yeah, nice marketing. He's the best marketer ever. All this kind of stuff. But so we got that. But so I want to give you guys that. That happened today. Local news, Mr. Daryl Terrell. Go ahead and take it away and tell us what's going on in the warehouse empire.
Well,
Bell.
That's the good old Bell.
Yeah.
But what I saw, I attended a board of supervisors meeting. But in the
Bell.
press enterprise, there's a interesting article that is happening, affecting in all of our communities. It says, I'll show you the newspaper headlines. It says, if you can't read, it says $303 million surge in pension costs expecting. This is in Riverside County. And it says, according to the advisory committee, puts county unfunded pension liability at $2.8 billion, up from $1 billion in 2013. So it says by 2023, Riverside County expects to pay $303.4 million a year, more than it does now, to cover public employees' pensions obligations. That is very interesting.
Very, very interesting. And of course, the always wanted and needed Sean Fortine has joined us.
How you feeling, sir?
How you feeling today?
Oh, hanging in there.
Yeah, okay. I know you're a little fatigued and stuff.
Yeah.
So,
good to see you.
So with that 33 million pension, how do they plan on funding that?
Well, one of the options that I saw in the opinion, Supervisor Marion Ashley was suggesting that they come up with some ideas, but one of his focus that he put out there was changing from the defined benefit retirement plan for new hirees to looking at the possibility of defined contribution retirement plans for new hirees. Switching from...
So basically pay them at a lower rate, bringing in newer employees at a lower rate, at a slower growth of their pension plan.
Yes. That's what he suggested. As
no Vaseline. Just no Vaseline there, so...
Well, pensions can be a tough subject. I'm not going to say people...
Okay.
I'm not going to say people don't like him because having a great pension is an awesome thing.
Yeah, because he has one. He has one.
And but in long term, like over the course of decades, they end up being an incredible financial liability. To where it's like they've got all this money that they've got all these financial obligations that are that when times get tough, they suddenly can't afford. And like in the case of like Ford Motor Company, where they had that problem with their pensions about 10 years ago or so. And
okay, so let me ask you this. I'm just going to play devil's advocate. You're working for a company. You're making $20 an hour. They promise you, if you retire with them, you get 50% of your pay. Now you're coming up on retirement. You're 2 years away, and they say, you know what? Except this happened in the military. They tried to do that in the military. They said that if you retired 20 years, you would get 30% of your pay. Who the hell is going to stay for 30% of pay? So all your quality people are going to go and get better jobs to do what they have
legally,
to do.
They already made that legal obligation. So what I'm saying is that with new hires, they need to, unfortunately, stop making such big promises for pensions and maybe help them manage their own finances to set up a private pension fund
Right.
out of their own pocket.
Okay, but here's what I'm saying. Okay, you have our baby boomers, which is our parents. Then you have us. What's happening is they're taking the ladder after they've taken the big chunk of the watermelon, and they're pulling the ladder up saying, okay, we got ours, so now you guys, it's like being a pilot. In the 1970s, pilots were making $200,000. If you're flying a 747, you're making almost $250,000 annually, just being a senior pilot. How much do you think pilots are making now?
Not that much.
$14 an hour on average. And we're talking about like the commuters first. You start off with the little commuter airplanes, and then if you're lucky, you get the 747s now. You're probably making $80,000 top.
Well,
so how are we supposed to live off that? The cost of living keeps going up and all that other stuff. So, I mean,
they're going to have to start offering a bigger paycheck up front and a smaller pension later because in the long term, companies are facing extreme financial difficulties trying to pay off these pensions that they've promised to people.
Well,
risky scheme.
Well, how about this? Instead of giving the CEO 300 times what the average worker makes, take that 300% difference and give him maybe 25% difference of what you see what I'm saying? The greed is unbelievable.
Well, we look at.
I know. I hear that argument a lot, but realistically, you could slash the CEO's pay that much, but it wouldn't make any. It would only make like a few cents difference in what.
Right, but
the overall paycheck.
No, but what I'm saying is it would also stop the culture of greed. Okay, why is it that here in the city of Moreno Valley we have department heads that are making six-figure salaries, but none of them live here outside of the fire chief? Why? Because the money is so lucrative, they're going to make that commute and that sacrifice, like a lot of people that live here make that sacrifice to commute to LA because the money is lucrative to do so. So I'm just saying, if you want to level the playing field to where people it's more reasonable. Yeah, the few cents that CEO is going to make or whatever. I mean, look at the majority of the people that are not making a living wage versus this one person who's making a basic salary plus stock option. And then if you stop it at the top, then the culture of corruption will stop. And maybe people at the bottom won't be as greedy either. It's a team effort. Like, okay, just give me, what my fair share is. But if the top is greedy, I don't blame these unions for saying, give me mine, give me mine. Hell with you. I know, even though I ain't doing shit, give me my $25 an hour because I'm part of the union. I pay dues, and that's where you gotta cut that out. It starts at the top, not at the bottom. So, but Daryl, you were saying?
Well, they were saying, according further, when I was reading further in this article, it says changes beyond the county's control are driving up CalPERS. That's the pension for the. It said the county finance officer Don Kent. He says retirees are living longer and forcing changes to morale.
How dare they live longer? How dare they?
And he is also...
You damn baby boomers. There's too many of you and you're living too damn long. Die.
And it says in December, CalPERS board voted to lower the discount rate given to members agencies like the county that pays into the system. A gradually declining rate reflects they got to pay more. They said because CalPERS gave them. But I think it was also the risky schemes CalPERS did during the the boom and everything, and they didn't get their investment. It's what
of course not. It's all a gamble. It's all a gamble. And Sean got some more for it.
It's not exactly like no one saw this coming. I mean, with the baby boomers, at first when the baby boom happened, hospitals and nurseries were hit hard with overwhelming demand for the ability to help them. Then the schools were stretched thin to help all the to educate all the baby boomers. Then the economy, when they got old enough to have jobs, the economy was
stretched because there wasn't enough jobs.
To accommodate them.
That's why they started the Vietnam War, to get rid of some of these guys. So one of the reasons.
Not sure it was that effective.
It was effective enough. He got rid of 56,000 Americans died in the Vietnam War. So but untold millions are affected.
Yeah. It was the writing has been on the wall for decades that there was going to be a pension crisis when all these baby boomers were going to retire.
So what do you do?
They should have been planning ahead. So right now these companies have a legal obligation to make good on their on all their promises, all their contracts to provide these pensions, but sooner or later the pension system is going to have to be changed.
Here's the thing. Yes, they're on the legal hook to provide pensions, but if I was a savvy CEO and I know the law, which I do, you could just declare the company insolvent and done, where the federal government, which is something what Trump would do, he would just say, the company doesn't exist anymore, which means the federal government would have to step in. You're not going to get your whole pension. So, Daryl, you retired from the corporation you work for, and you have an annual pension of $200,000. Now, that company's CEO did exactly what I said I was going to do. I say, our company doesn't exist anymore. We can't afford it. We have too many people retiring. We're broke. So now the federal government has to step in to guarantee your pension. Guess how much you're going to get? Probably about 15-20% of what you were promised by that company. And that's all you're going to get. And most of these greedy-ass CEOs, that's exactly what they're going to do if the federal government has to step in. The federal government will step in. It's almost like giving you welfare, just enough for you to die. The federal government is not on the hook for your corporation that doesn't exist anymore. Because think about it. If the company doesn't exist anymore, who's going to pay your pension? Who?
A lot of pensions now are getting outsourced to hedge funds.
Right. Oh my God. Well, good luck with that. If that's going to happen. So that's something we need to take help on. Go ahead, Derek.
Well, here's some alternatives that CalPERS can offer, but something I looked up, and it's called a cash balance plan, and I'm just reading from it. It says alternative to meeting both. You remember the defined benefit and the defined contribution plans. It combines elements of both in a single plan, like a traditional defined benefit plan. Contributions from employers and employees are pooled in a professional managed, but unlike a direct benefit plan, the benefit is based on the amount accumulated in the account, not on the format based on salary and years of service. So it says, I'm just reading what it says. It members get a guarantee rate of return, but it's likely to yield lower yearly payout.
Of course.
Well, this is
so reading that, who would opt into that? Who?
Well, nobody would, because I think right now, because CalPERS can't offer that anyway. So the only thing they can offer is I called CalPERS the other day to find out. The only plan they offer that the county or any municipality can contract is the direct contribution. That's the only option they have, other than.
So basically, you have to make your own retirement.
Yeah, basically, that's the only thing they offer. So they can't do this kind of stuff that I'm talking about. They won't be able to do it.
Right, and a lot of corporations now will basically say, we're just here to give you a check for the time that you work for us, and after that, you make your own.
Well, it might be smart for some people on CalPERS plan to try and cash out their retirement and find themselves a really good financial guy,
advisor, and
a good
money manager.
Yeah, a CPA.
CPA, okay.
Someone that knows how the stock market really well, knows how the bonds and especially the annuities work, and how to make that all work out to get you a good return on.
Right, and since. We're Generation X, and you've got the millennials. Since we've been fucked over, I'm going to give this advice to you guys. It's just like where I'm at in life. I'm not going to be a millionaire. I've already realized that. You got to be content with what you got. Maybe your kids don't need Air Jordans. Maybe you don't need that Mercedes Benz. I'm not saying don't spoil yourself and treat yourself, but live within your means, because at the rate that this is going and what our parents' generation has done to us. They call themselves the baby boomers, the children of the greatest generation. Okay, great. You can have all that, whatever. But what they failed to say, and I know a lot of them are listening, but what they failed to see is they're also the most selfish generation, because most generations previous to that would work 20 years and say, okay, I've made my money. Now I've got to step to the side so that my children could support their families and they could have jobs. As technology is getting better, there are less and less and less more jobs. Now, is that the baby boomers' fault? No, not necessarily. But you have baby boomers that, and that's the generation that had more opportunity than any generation in the history of the earth. Because that's when blacks started getting, jobs, Mexicans. I mean, it made it inclusive for everybody. All these programs were started in the 60s and the 50s and 60s that gave unprecedented opportunity. But then they get there, and some of them are still working to this very day. Why are you working that long? 30-something years at a job. How much money do you need? Oh, I got to take care of my grandchildren. No, you don't. That's our children give us the responsibility. And so when I hear baby boomers complaining about, oh, these kids are so fucked up and blah, 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 blah. Well, that's because you guys have stepped in. You won't let us whip them like you did us. You won't let us discipline them. You won't let us do this. Oh, that's my baby. That's this or that's that.
Yeah, what's that saying that if you don't beat your kids, but the cops will?
Yes, exactly. So that's where we're at, in regards to these things. Now, I'm not saying, if you earned your pension, okay, great. Take your pension and go while the getting is good and let those positions go. And I'll even give a better example. My mom works in the federal government. Her job is grandfathered. My mom has a high school education. But to do her job right now, you need a bachelor's degree, even as a minimum. That's a minimum. But she doesn't have it. But do you see how the baby boomers have manipulated the rules? Because I'm not trying to dog you out. I'm just using it as an example. But if the rules say you've got to have a bachelor's degree for that job, whenever that rule changed, then mom, you should be out of a job, or you should be looking for another job, or they should be moving you to a job that has. My mom's a very smart woman. She's going back to school, whatever it is. But that's what I'm saying is how they manipulated the rules to benefit themselves and not thinking about the generations behind them.
Okay, you're at risk of assuming collective responsibility there. Mm-hmm. But in all fairness, there are a lot of baby boomers that didn't get those lucrative jobs and are still working just to make ends meet because they're if they were even offered retirement, they still don't have enough to retire on.
Right.
It's not necessarily because they made stupid choices when they were younger. Maybe some of them just didn't have the options presented to them, or
or they were technologically moved out.
Yeah, or something catastrophic happened in their life where they weren't able to maintain a high standard of living anymore. Maybe some sort of disability or injury.
Well, you know what? As a Trump supporter that I am, I don't give a damn. That's their fault. It's I don't want to hear no excuses. It doesn't matter. I'm the greatest at everything that I do. So I don't want to hear their excuses about why they can't be rich like me. No, I'm joking. I'm not a Trump supporter, by the way. But
well, I mean, I'm talking about people that aren't even trying to be rich. They're just trying to make ends meet.
No, they're just trying to live. Right.
Paycheck to paycheck.
Right. Yeah, they're just trying to live, and it's a sad thing. But Daryl's going to stay on top of that story. Locally, you guys have heard recently about us trying to attract the Amazon thing. Jerry Brown vetoed the CEQA loophole closure that was put in by Jose Medina. Goes to show you, doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. They're all in the same team, the ruling party. Jerry Brown cannot run for governor again. He's too old, number one. And basically what he did... He's
going to term out.
Yeah. He's cashing out, basically. Dianne Feinstein. The bitch is running for her seat again. The bitch is, 80 years old? 80-something?
I think she's 84.
What the hell, man? Your husband already got a $3 billion speed train deal of our tax dollars. How much longer are you going to rob us?
And that train is going, if it is ever completed, it's going to be the world's most expensive bullet train and also the world's slowest.
Right. See, and that's what I'm saying. How long are they going to continue to rob us? So, with all of that said, everybody was trying to get Mr. Bezos, the richest man in the world, to come into the warehouse empire, formerly the Inland Empire. And how are they going to attract him to get here? And this goes to show you the DA, these city politicians, these state politicians, they're all in cahoots. to deal with this warehouse mentality. That's what this warehouse mentality is about.
Well, right now it looks like Jeff Bezos is probably going to
Pittsburgh.
I was hearing either Kansas City or St. Louis, and he was going to play them against each other to see which one will give him everything for free.
Okay, because I heard Pittsburgh was in the mix there too. Maybe they dropped that part of it. But
the thing about the warehouse is about trying to get Amazon or another corporate headquarters there is that the city council, both the current and their friends on previous councils, have seen to it that. With all the warehouses, with all the poverty, with all the lower working class labor, they've seen to it that no one making a 6-figure salary except maybe a couple of city officials are going to want to live here.
Right, and those people with 6 figures are not going to live here. They're going to live in the outskirts.
Yeah, and if they want that headquarters, it's probably going to have to be down in the Joint Powers area because the only decent place to live around here is going to be over in the Woodcrest, Orangecrest area of Riverside.
Well, honestly, I don't even think it's going to go to the Joint Powers because Moreno Valley has nothing to offer but warehouses. I think that if you're going to build a headquarters like that, you would go down to the Menifee area or the Temecula area because here it is, warehouse, empire. They didn't care where the headquarters comes, as long as it comes into the Inland Empire, the warehouse empire. That is why they wanted to do the monorail. The monorail to go nowhere. Now, real quick, for those that are listening on the radio.
The first time I saw that, we've been making Simpsons jokes about the warehouse using the monorail analogy from that old episode where... And now he's actually proposed a monorail.
Yes. This is like the 26th time the Simpsons have predicted the future. Now, here's the thing. For those that are listening on the thing, we're going to go to YouTube and check it out, or you might even see it on Facebook. We're going to look at the video of the monorail idea in Springfield, Simpsonville, Simpsonland. Now, the thing was this. The people get together, and they have this extra money. And in the extra money, their roads are horrible. They need jobs. They need, things for the city. Yeah. Sounds like our city, things that we need for the community. So here comes this shyster that kind of reminds me of Ito Benvizi, and he says, "Hey, I'm going to build you a monorail." And then they go into the monorail song, and then they build the monorail, and morons like Homer Simpson get jobs there.
Yeah.
And I think Leonard Nimoy was on that episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, he was on that episode. But we're going to show you the video so you can get an idea.
But then I think it was Marge went to another city that had actually built the monorail and discovered that it was a complete disaster.
Right.
And it literally the track broke and it crashed because of the crappy construction, and the city didn't want to talk about it anymore.
And the person took their money and left.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened in the Simpsons episode, too, as they fast-forwarded like 25 years forward.
I'm talking about the Simpsons episode.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about in the episode, they fast-forwarded what happened to the monorail 25 years, and the monorail failed in Springfield as well as the elevator that went nowhere. At the end of it, they'll show all this stuff. But we're going to show you a clip right now. Take a look at it and tell me if this is the stupidest idea. With all the things that we need, we could use, if we have any extra money, we could use it for mental health here, the homeless issue, building us an auditorium, all kinds of things.
Cops, law enforcement, parole and probation enforcement would be a big one.
But we're going to build a monorail.
A little convention center. I think that if we don't want to get carried away and don't be delusional like some of the people on city council, but have like a place for local businesses to meet.
Right.
Have like a public gym and pool and other meeting places like that.
Yeah, you could bring concerts here. Have a venue where you could bring concerts and local things here. But we're going to take a look at the clip. You guys take a look at it. After you get done laughing, go down to city council and just tell the mayor what an idiot he really is. So take a look. So that's the video. And it's everything that we told you it was. And if you want to see the rest of the episode, it is on YouTube. So, Daryl, what is your thoughts on the monorail?
Bad idea. It's like you put the cart before the horse. So it's like you were saying about like on one of your podcasts. You're saying just like over in Adrian Mitchell's Park, you have no bathroom.
We have no bathrooms.
So you build a park without bathrooms.
Right.
Okay. So now we've gone to where this infrastructure is around here. That's one guy told me at Lowe's. He came in. He says, My friends call Alexandria Boulevard Pothole Boulevard.
Pothole Boulevard.
Yeah, I said, why is that? He said, potholes everywhere. So, I mean...
Potholes in my lawn.
See, it's just like the thing about the train.
Mm-hmm.
The monorail that they want to build the train to nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
That money could have been used for the infrastructure instead of financing for our roads, our highways and things, instead of going with the SB1, the raising the gas tax.
Well, can I ask you this? Okay, if we're going to build a monorail, why the hell would you build a monorail when you can't even get people to ride the Metrolink?
Well,
I was going to bring that up too. It's not just the Metrolink, but I noticed that from what I'm reading on the Press Enterprise, the monorail was going to run from the Metrolink station all along Cactus, and any other stops are going to be afterthoughts. So let me guess. The monorail is going to exist to serve the World Logistics Center, and if it's going to serve the World Logistics Center, is that a tacit acknowledgement that the people that are going to be commuting there will not have the financial means to have a car?
Have a car, right? Exactly. And
don't make sense.
And speaking of which, have you guys heard that Mr. Benvisi is going to bring another Skechers facility?
Yeah.
In the World Logistics Center.
Oh, it's not the phase 2 or 3?
No. This is another Skechers facility that's going to bring how many jobs this time, Ito? I mean, let's get a number that is going to work. 600, 400, maybe.
I don't know. I think Gutierrez is probably going to have to help him pull it out of his butt.
Another Skechers warehouse. Is this the only idea that this man could come up with?
Well, this is the problem I see. Just like
does Skechers even know about this?
Well, that's what you were saying about the monorail and all this stuff and all these warehouses. It don't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It seems like something out of the Twilight Zone or something.
Well,
Simpsons too.
Well, it just seems like it goes to show you the intelligence level of the people here in the Inland Empire. How many we've been in Moreno Valley alone, we've been investing in warehouses for about 10 years now. Mm-hmm. Where is the infrastructure money? Where are the jobs?
Well, again, see, you hit right there, economics, because someone's going to make money off of building that thing.
Exactly.
It's all about...
But that's what it's about. Yeah. They're just going to take the money.
And somebody's going to take money.
All the politicians, when Chevron Cheryl Brown had that big thing at Valley College, Jose Medina was there, all the assemblymen were there, all of these politicians and Ito was there, have their hands in the cookie jar. It's just like when we went to war in Iraq. There were more contractors there than there were military people. These people are there to make money at our expense. They see these tax dollars that we're going to pay, and they're going to say, just like in the monorail episode that you saw, he's going to take his big bag of money after he sells this idea, and he's gone.
What I find interesting, though, is the pictures of his concept art.
It was...
Well, the thing is that the reoccurring theme is always water, and there's always like big pools of water.
Big pools of water.
We're like in the middle of the desert.